Okay, here we go with game number 2 of the Hulk control team versus the flying sidekick team. My opponent decides to go first as he lost the first game. He rolls his first roll and has a bolt, mask, question mark, and shield. It looks like he wants to spend 3 on something. I wonder if he's going to try to do something differently this time and pick up a... No, he's going to pick up a big entrance like he did before. I was wondering if he was going to pick up a foot ninja and start things off... Oh, geez. On the right foot. Oh, that's a terrible pun. I hate myself for doing that. My first roll, I have just about every option open to me. I decide to pick up a Constantine. My opponent PXG's. God, I hate myself for saying that. Why in the world did I do that? Let's see what he pulls. He's got a big entrance in the bag, and I think he pulled it. Let's see if he rolls it. 6 dice to work with this time, so this would be a good big entrance timing. He's got a sidekick. Did not roll the big entrance on his action face, but he's got other options of things that he can possibly do. Re-rolling that big entrance, and it does come up as a big entrance. Good for him. So he's going to play that sidekick, and obviously he's going to play that big entrance. Then he's got 4 energy left to work with. I obviously am going to PXG twice when he passes over to me. Looks like he's going to bolt out his sidekick, pay a bolt, KO his sidekick, reduce something by 2, and he's going to immediately pick up Shannon Carter and pop that in the bag. I like that he's changing up his buy order and trying something different, seeing if it works this time or makes a difference. I PXG, and then my turn begins. Shaking things up, and rolling 7 dice. That's a great feeling, rolling 7 dice. So I have a sidekick here. That might be good to keep later, or I can just drop all of this energy and pick up a Hulk right now. Looks like I am going to do that. Or maybe I'm going to pick something else. So yeah, it looks like I'll pick up an Oracle instead. So I KO'd my sidekick, paid a bolt, paid 2 energy. Now the nice thing is that still leaves me with 2 masks or 2 question marks to use for PXGs later on. My opponent draws 1 sidekick from the bag. He's going to reload and draw 3 more. Hopefully sidekicks for me. He picked up Shannon Carter right off the top. So let's see what happens. He's got a lot of energy again. One of them sticks to his hand. And he rolls Shannon Carter on her, I think it's her second face. Or maybe that's her top face. Whichever the 255 face is. If I'm reading that correctly. So he's going to pay to field her, pay 2 fists to field her. That leaves him with 2 energy in his reserve to use on my turn. So I PXG a bunch and reload my bag. Let's see if what I draw is as good as what he drew. I pick up a Constantine, so that helps a little bit. I can call out whatever he buys from now on and allow it to fizzle for that first turn. A lot of energy here again. If I wanted to, I could KO my Constantine and my sidekick to reduce the cost even more. So it looks like I'm picking up a Joker instead. So pay 1 to field. So having to pay 1 to field there, I think is probably why I chose not to pick up a Hulk that turn. That's usually when I would like to pick it up, either turn 2 or turn 3. Fairly early on so that I can get it out and have complete board control at that point. My opponent forgets that he has a has a sidekick under his hands. I don't know if you've ever done that. I didn't catch it at all because, as I said in the first video, immediately after ending my turn, I forget to name anything and go into the think tank. My opponent decides to roll 2 sidekicks and a big entrance. Big entrance does not come up, so he's only got the 2 generic side of it. But he's got a lot of energy to spare, a lot of energy to work with. So it looks like he's going to pay 4 for something. He's going to pay 4 for 2 Alfreds. Pay 2 for a Mary Jane. He's going to load up his bag is what's happening. Luckily for him, he's got the ability to PXG a bunch. As long as I don't draw... Oh, right there, the Oracle. If I roll Oracle, then he's going to have some problems with PXG because he won't be able to move those 4 dice over, only 2. So I roll everything up. I've got a ton of stuff to roll here. And would you know it, I rolled Oracle right off the top on her 0-1-4 face. So I have a lot of energy to spare. This is a great time, since I've got it, to buy the Hulk. So I pick up Hulk, pop that over into used, pass priority. He PXG's 2 energy for 2 dice, and it is his turn. He rolls some stuff up, and he's got an MJ here, which is good for him because that's going to get buffed by the Shannon. Rerolls his other wow and nails 3 sidekicks. Okay, so I'm looking at some problems here because he can easily swing now. Swing for some good damage if I choose not to block everything. Has to pay to move that Mary Jane into the field zone. That's good for me because he can't PXG. Of course, I guess he couldn't have PXG'd anyway unless I chose to not block and some of those sidekicks went to used. So he passes priority and I PXG, and then he pushes forward all of his sidekicks, including the ally Mary Jane. And I have to choose how I want to block. So I block one of those sidekicks. That's a 3-3, knocking out my 3 defense Constantine, and I end up taking a full 10 damage from just that tiny little swing. And that's one of the reasons why I really want that Hulk out early. Having a Hulk to control that board and to keep things low, especially with a sidekick team, is really, really necessary. Buying that Joker a couple of turns ago instead of the Hulk might be my undoing, because it doesn't have as much utility in this setting as it would in another setting. So I re-roll everything. I pick up the Joker. No, I don't pick up either of my characters. So I'm definitely going to want a Parallax here. Parallax with a shield. Reroll both my characters, and the Hulk comes up, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather pay 2 for a Hulk to show up than pay 4 or 5 or some crazy amount to field all of those characters. Plus, I had to pay that field that Constantine, which is impossible to see on a on a yellow background because of the cool iridescence of that die. Is that the right word? Iridescence? Tell me in the comments below. Shaking it up. Let's see what he gets. Not so good. That is such a tough thing to work through. If you don't have removal on your team and you're having to face an Oracle, you just have no energy. So he's re-rolling for a big entrance. Not sure why. I would almost take that 2 generic more. But I guess the other observation or the other possibility is that you can buy a bunch of stuff, put it in the bag, and hope you threaten with enough stuff early on or coming up soon that I have to block with Oracle. That's a possibility, but now that Hulk is out, that's not really gonna happen. So I ping my Hulk twice, dealing 6 to his board, and he's going to end up wiping here. Moves everything over. See what I have in my bag left over from a couple of turns ago. I have 2 sidekicks, so I'm going to put everything in, draw 2 more, see if I can get a character. That would be nice. I got the Joker out. And the nice thing now is if I roll Joker and name Shannon Carter, then I don't have to worry about Shannon Carter coming out onto the field. This has been a much more locked down game now that I've sort of stabilized after that giant hit that I took early on. Did not get Joker to stick there. I could Parallax here. If I do so, then I would still have to pay the fielding cost for a Joker. So that's an interesting conundrum. But I'm going to spin down that 2 shield to 1 shield, and I'm going to buy a Constantine. Then I'm going to pay the 1 shield left over and a bolt for another Constantine. Just working my way towards lethal. I've got I'm going to ping out my Hulk, right, or I'm going to ping my Hulk, even though his board is clear, so that I can get a full 4 dice PXG next turn. I'm not super duper worried about his board because I did name Shannon Carter with my Constantine this turn, which means that if she comes out on the field, her card text is wiped, and I don't have to worry about all of her allies, all of my opponent's allies getting buffed. Oh, and I guess I really won't have to worry about it if none of them show up, except that one little sidekick there. So he's definitely going to re-roll some things. His Foot Ninja showed up. He showed up to the party. Let's see if anyone else joins him. And no, in fact, it was worse that he chose to re-roll in this case because of the energy drop on MJ and on Shannon Carter. So he's going to actually pay 2 to Parallax. And, well, MJ shows up at least. So he's going to field all of those. He's going to buy a Aunt May first. The more I've played around sidekick teams and the more I've played with a sidekick team, the more I start to realize Aunt May is just not a valuable ally. Her aftershock ability is just a little too hard to trigger, and it usually doesn't do much. At least that's the Caring Aunt version. So I pull Joker again. See if I can roll him this time. He comes right up. That'll work. And a sidekick. So again, I'm just working my way towards lethal, little by little. Fielding Joker. I can name Shannon, which is what I name. So that if Shannon comes back onto the field in some way, that she's forced not to. So I end my turn with 2 bolts, setting up for a possible lethal next turn because I know I have 2 more Constantines in the bag. I'm only about 4 points off of damage from lethal. So he shakes it all up, rolls it all up. If he can manage a Falcon, but he hasn't even bought a Falcon, so he's in dire straits then. He's struggling. Really, he should be buying more of those Alfreds because if Alfred gets KO'd by my Hulk ability, there he goes, he buys a Falcon there, then he can at least re-roll it to get it back on the field as a blocker. I ping out my, I hit my Hulk with 2 global bolts from Magic Missile, and then I'm going to PXG those over, allowing me to move 4. His turn's over because he can't attack. I've got 3, 1 more makes 4, and so all I got to do is roll characters. Characters or bust. And I get 1 character and a sidekick. So I'm going to re-roll. Let's see if I can pick up 1 more character. I think that's what I need. Thinking about what I need a couple more points of damage, and then a character does indeed pop up. So with his board being cleared from on his turn, all I have to do is field. Pay to field both of those Constantines, place that in the field. And then I do the epic fail swing. Watch this, here we go. I push forward and I knock over my Hulk. Oh, jeez. That was anticlimactic. Either way, this ends in a OTK for me. So if you haven't seen it before, this is Hulk Control. If you've never played against it, it's really annoying, but it's a lot of fun if you've played it yourself. Things that he could have done. He could have definitely used Polymorph to polymorph out my Hulk and polymorph in something in my used pile. That is something that he very much should have done. Other things he could have done to avoid as much damage as he was taking from his board, you can actually use the global there on polymorph to spin down one of your characters and spin up my Hulk or your opponent's Hulk to get it off that burst phase. Then your opponent has to pay more bolts to do the same amount of damage. So if you're ever playing against a Hulk control team and they're running polymorph or you're running polymorph, that is a really good answer, good way to beat a Hulk control team, or at least to sort of slow that tide down, stem the tide a little bit. You can either swap their character out by buying a polymorph and using it on them, or paying a mask to spin one of your characters down and spin their Hulk up to at least avoid some of the damage. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I'll see you guys next time.